All right, for dynamic blocks, the basic thing that you need to start with is an object that you want to turn into your block that you want to be able to change in some way, whether it's to be able to stretch it, to be able to rotate it, to be able to turn parts of it on and off so that you only see them some of the time. One easy thing that you guys can do if you want to is just to use the desk and chair W block that you've already created, insert it in here and explode it, and then recreate it as a dynamic block. So I'm going to draw just a really basic one right now. Okay, so I'm going to do just like normal, B for block, to open the block editor, and I'm going to name this one desk chair, and I'm going to pick a base point on it, and I'm going to pick the corner of the desk here, and then I'm going to select objects, and I'm going to tell it to convert to block. You could retain it, either way it doesn't really matter at this section. I'm going to select my objects, which of course is both the table and the chair, and then enter. I want to make sure that it's going to say allow exploding and that it's going to scale. I'm not going to tell it that it has to scale uniformly because I want to be able to scale it separately if I want to. And then for units, I'm going to say inches in this case. Now, I want to do a small description. Desk and chair block. And then differently from how we've done them before, this time I want to make sure that the open in block editor box is definitely checked. And I'm going to say OK, and it automatically opens up in the editor. And when I'm editing for parameters, there are going to be two parts to each thing. There's going to be a parameter and an action that is taken with that parameter. So we have the ability to do a flip, to do an alignment, and various other things. What we're going to be doing is a rotation, a visibility, and what was the other one I like to do? Oh, a stretch, a linear stretch. So I'm going to start out by doing the rotation. I will click on the rotation parameter, and now if you look down at the bottom, it says specify the base point where you want it to rotate from, and I'm going to pick the center line of the desk, so I want to make sure I have midpoint on, and go right there. And now you have to specify the radius of the parameter, or you can just drag out for a circle. The bigger that your circle is, the less control over the rotation you will have, because you'll be rotating in smaller amounts. If it's a smaller circle, it changes. So I want kind of a medium circle. I want it to cover most of the area that I want to rotate. So I'm going to go with this size. And then I need to do the angle of rotation. So what I'm going to be doing is going all the way around. Sorry, my mouse is working really slowly today. Until I meet back up with the original circle. And clicking there. And then just specifying where I want the location, the label to be by clicking. And I should be getting my rotation, but what I'm getting is a yellow. Oh, okay, that's just telling me that there's no actions yet, which is fine. So now I've got my parameter set. I need to go into actions, and I need to tell it I want to do a rotate action on this item. So I select the parameter by making sure that I have it highlighted, and then click on it. And then I select the objects that I want to be affected by this. I could say only rotate the chair or only rotate the table. In this case, I'm going to have it rotate both. And no more objects. Okay, so now you can see there's a little rotate symbol here, and that's the action. So I've done my rotate parameter in action. Now I'm going to go back into parameters, and I'm going to do my linear parameter so that I can do a stretch. That way I can change the size of the desk whenever I want to. So I will go to linear, and it will say specify start point. And so I'm going to say, oh, here, and then specify end point. Oh, sorry, I picked the wrong spot, so I need to undo that. Okay, linear, specify start point. I'm going to pick this corner, and end point, I'm going to pick this corner. And then it wants me to specify my label location, so I'm just going to put it right there. And now I need to go in and do my action, which is going to be a stretch action. And I need to select the parameter again, so I hover to make sure that it's highlighted and click on it. And then it says specify the start point. So I'm going to say this start point. And then it wants me to select the first corner of the stretch frame. So what you want to make sure that you do is that you are selecting the only one half of your drawing, because if you select the entire drawing, you're going to be making it so that it's just a move command instead of a stretch. You have to be pulling away from one side in order to stretch the other side out. So I'm going to do this as my window, and then it says select objects, and I'm going to pick all of the lines that are going to be moving. And so I want to pick this line and this line. I think it's not going to work because I have this as a polyline. So we'll see how it works. And then select objects, they're selected, and now it's got a stretch parameter attached to it, an action. My final parameter is going to be a visibility parameter. So I'm going to click on visibility, and it doesn't really matter where you place the visibility parameter, so I'm just going to place it right here. And then you need to go up and create your visibility states. So right now there's one visibility state, and it has the defaults, so everything looks like it is currently. I need to create a second visibility state, new, and I'm going to say without chair, and leave visibility of existing objects unchanged in new state is what I want to do, and say OK. And then when it's on without chair, I go to make invisible, and then I click on which objects I want to make invisible when I go to the without chair. So I select just the chair and hit enter. And then it is not visible whenever I'm on this layer from now on. So my next step is to close the block editor, and it will ask if I want to save the changes, which I do. And now when I go to insert that block, I can click on it, put it into the picture, and when I go and select this block, you now see that all of my parameters show up as options that can be applied to this block. So I can go here and I can tell it, do I want the regular visibility, or no, I want without chair. Or I can turn it back on without having to go through all the process of selecting my objects again and all that stuff, because I've already set it up. Or I can go in and say I want to do my rotation, and I grab the dot and I just drag whatever direction I want to for my rotation. And finally, I should be able to do my stretch. And as you can see, it stretches from the location that I choose. It's doing it at a funny angle because I rotated it at an angle that it doesn't give it the option of doing a horizontal or vertical 90 degree. But normally you would be stretching it straight out. So I would click there, and I've stretched the shape, or in this case, shrunk the shape because I moved it to a smaller area. And that is mostly what you need to know for dynamic blocks.